Well, I hope my guy knows he doesn't have a plate on the back. He brought it to me with no bumper. There was some paintless dent repair in the tailgate at one time. You can see a wee bit of that. But this is a work truck, and he didn't want any Bondo in the tailgate. So we just fixed what got hit in the bottom corner here. And it's smooth, smooth, smooth. There was like a rust spot and a touch up, and it had been hit here. So we moved it out, epoxy primed it. Like I got about 5 coats of epoxy primer on there, and then just sanded it smooth, and it looks like it's never been touched. Don't know why the fenders sit out the way they do. Again, work truck. The tail light didn't fit before. Kind of fits now. It had been hit. That could be why it was all weird before, but we left that. The bumper comes up to here, so that'll be all right. Excuse me, been up all night. Little stuffy. So I don't know if you can see how the gravel guard goes up about 4.5, 5 inches and then kind of fades off into nothing. Maybe you can catch it in this part here. We weren't going to bother with stickers for this. You can see a little line right there. Everywhere else was cut. So I didn't paint in here or in here. Basically, we taped it. You got to go super close, hit the corners with a razor blade, and if you pull it off right, it just looks like the sticker. To tape these off, if you don't want to take them off, I run the green tape and I come down around a nice solid area, and when I get to a corner, I take a Bondo spreader and push it up in the corner and basically follow it all the way along. So that one's perfect. Now between the S and the L, I just taped straight across, but you can kind of, yeah, it's hardly noticeable. The same with the E. That one you can see a little bit, well, on camera. And then the Sierra, I wasn't taking all these letters off, so you can see where, well, it's a little faded and lighter in there, and well, it's probably still dusty, but I basically just taped it across. And what I did is I taped it and pushed the tape kind of up into the foam, and I just let it float. You know, and if you ever get a little overspray in there, you can clean it with a bit of gun cleaner or thinner. So that's not bad. The handle sucks. He's going to order a new one, which is great. I don't know if you'd seen the video before. This was peeling all the way down to here, right from this spot. We used absolutely no fill in that. Basically, I feathered it out and put about 4 or 5 fat coats of that CRE 321 high build epoxy primer, and it's sandable, and I mean it did a nice job. We didn't go too crazy here. It looks a little waffly, but that's because just to get all, and you know, to stop it, we shot a bunch of epoxy primer there too. So that's, you know, it's epoxy, right? It's like a glue. It ain't going nowhere. But here you have, see those? We gravel guarded those. Everything is clean, and everything that's gravel guarded has been epoxied. So, well, the bottoms anyway, and then we came up higher, but you can see how it just kind of drifts into nothing, right? And even where the gravel guard is, you can see where the reflection of the wheel goes away. But yeah, it's a good look. My Corollas like that. I did a couple Tundras that were like that, and I just think it's a good look. Now in the Corollas, of course, they only come up, they basically do the bottom edge, and it comes up like 1.5 inches, 2 inches. On the Tacoma, it comes up probably about 4 inches. We're probably about 4.5 on the other side, and on this side, because you're kind of winging it. If you go a little too high, you kind of got to commit to doing the whole thing. This side might be 4.5, 5, where the other side's a solid 4.5, but you can see how it looks good, and it just sort of fades to nothing. The wheel arches were absolutely perfect when we were done, but he wanted to put Put these on, which, you know what, they're not bad. They're not bad, actually. And they don't make the tires look super skinny. They could have been a little flatter, but they were the lowest profile this way that he could get. And they were made by Lund. You got these little clips on the back, and when you pinch everything together, you hammer those on, and they bite into the little holes. And I gotta say, they're on there. And then the mud flaps, we just moved them out, but we really located. This is how much out the flares are, so it's not a whole lot. But we just relocated those in, and I mean, they're super solid. They don't, they're not going no place. That's the sticker on the other side. You can see if you get real close, there's a little bit of weirdness right there. But industry standard is like 5-10 feet. I'm at like 2.5 feet, and it looks fine. Yeah, it looks good. Truck looks good. We put these back on. They had all these nut certs that were bad, so what we did is we drilled holes beside the holes, and I put the push-in nut certs instead of the ones that rivet in. Just bolted them back on. Basically, I relocated the whole thing back about 1/2 inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch, which is fine. You know, the gap isn't retarded or nothing. Now, these rubbers don't stick on, they just sit on, and it's like a Y channel, and I gotta say, like, it puts pressure and the rubbers bend out. It might be, at first I thought, what a stupid setup that is, but you had to fight to put them on and just kind of slide them on, but they fit really well because of the rubber flexing into the body, so I think that'll be as good as anything, I guess. The front ones, you basically just pulled all the factory hardware out, put those on, pushed it in just a wee bit, like a little tension, and then put all the factory hardware back in. The doors, the rockers, they were all peeled from about halfway down. Put all the little plugs back. We really didn't have to gravel guard these, but we figured we epoxy prime to close that line, hopefully to keep stuff from rusting in there. But if he does put the rubbers back on, the epoxy primer and the gravel guard will give the sand something to chew at instead of just the paint. I don't know if we'll put the sweeps back on the bottom of the doors. I'll see what the customer wants to do. And it looks like I gotta go find a plug for that guy. But yeah, so that's basically it. We put a line right here. You can kind of see it because this is a lot fresher than that. The colors looks a little darker, but I noticed it was quite a bit darker, and it seems to be drying the same color. Mind you, you take the dust off and then all of a sudden it looks a little better. But so that's her. This is the one I spoke about in the other video where I was kind of explaining to the do-it-yourselfers how to use the epoxy primer so as bubbles and stuff don't come back from on you later in the bottom. But yeah, it's a good looking truck. All the same stuff on the passenger side's on the driver's side. Basically, we just redid the bottom, cleaned up the rockers, repainted the whole box. And the tailgate, he said, just fix what's peeling and repaint it, which is all we did. I was really tempted to take a couple of these. I wonder if you can see them. You can see there's a couple, they're really minor, but you can see it in the reflection there. If I catch the wheel, there's about 3-4 little low spots in it. They are minor, but yeah, I think that wouldn't have been too much filler. I should have just went ahead and did it, but you told me not to, so what can you do? All this stuff is back in place. These ones self-tap, and they got like a built-in spacer, so this can float. I basically just relocated everything not quite a quarter of an inch over from where they originally were. I just screwed it back on because they were just spinning in the holes. And you can't see it down in there, but it basically looks like that. It's got the guard on it, and then the base clear. There's a black liner that goes in there, so we just painted it up past a little bit. He's going to throw some oil. He says chainsaw bar oil. He's going to put some of that in there. I don't know how good that is, but it sure is sticky, so I can't imagine it not working. Anyway, thanks for watching.